Back in the day, if you wanted practicality and speed, you had to buy 2 cars. But nowadays, you only need 1 car. All thanks to the fact that almost every fun car brand offers a fast version of an SUV. Today, we're going to talk about some of the fastest truck enclosed things on the planet. This is
D-List.
A big thanks to Omaze for sponsoring today's episode. A 2020 Audi RSQ8, the fastest SUV around the Nürburgring, could be yours with taxes and shipping included, plus $20,000. Just imagine a casual Sunday drive through the canyons in your cozy new SUV. Oh, you don't like casual drives through the canyons? Well, how about this? That's what I thought. For all those people in the comments who are like, do people actually win these? Do people actually win this? Yes! Look how happy Sebastian from Oregon is. He won the Corvette Stingray we helped Omaze give away earlier this year. Hi, Sebastian. What's even cooler is every donation supports the Ronald Reagan Medical Center, the same dudes that saved my life last year. Go on to omaze.com/donut and enter for your chance to win. Now, back to the show.
Jeep TRACKHAWK.
You know this boy is fast because it's got track in the name, but that's not all it's got. The TRACKHAWK has huge Brembo brakes. It's got a top speed of 180 miles per hour. It's got 4-wheel drive for incredible traction and the screaming symphony of a supercharged 707 horsepower Hellcat V8. I've driven one of these cars with an upgraded supercharger, and there is nothing weirder than going that fast in a car that big. The Hellcat engine is basically Fiat Chrysler's ketchup. It makes things better, and you can put it in anything. My girlfriend made fun of me the other day because I put ketchup in spaghetti. This is the most powerful vehicle that has ever been sold under the Jeep brand name. And at the time of its launch, it was the world's most powerful SUV. It's got a 0 to 60 time of 3.6 seconds. It can tow up to 7,200 pounds, but probably not at the same time. I don't know, man. We didn't Google it. I'm assuming no. Now, the TRACKHAWK has tamed the Hellcat engine a bit. It's by no means a quiet car, but the NVH department has toned down the Hellcat's roar a little bit compared to the Challenger or the Charger. Still, no one is going to be confusing this for a regular Grand Cherokee. And if you think this is a wild Hellcat-powered SUV, stick around because we've got another one later in the episode that's even more vascular.
Alfa Romeo STELVIO QUADRIFOGLIO.
Alfa Romeo with an F is one of the most historic car brands in the world, and not too long ago, it was almost gone. But now, Alfa has clawed back a bit of market share with cool cars like the Giulia, spelt weird, the 4C, and the STELVIO. The STELVIO QUADRIFOGLIO is a race-inspired, all-wheel drive version of the regular STELVIO. Now, when a brand says race-inspired, they might just mean they put some fake carbon fiber on it, give it a blacked out badge, and call it a day. But luckily for us, that is not what Alfa did. The STELVIO QUADRIFOGLIO weighs the same as a Challenger RT Skate Pack while producing more horsepower from a twin-turbo V6. This thing can go 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds, and is not just built for straight lines. With a near perfect 50-50 weight distribution and torque vectoring all-wheel drive, the STELVIO QUADRIFOGLIO laps the Nürburgring faster than a BMW M4, which is impressive. And it's even more impressive when you think that this is an SUV with enough room in the back to fit an entire upright bass. I'm thinking of joining a psychobilly band, so that bass capacity is really important to me.
Tesla Model X.
Tesla has been doing things differently in the car scene. One thing is for sure, those guys go sicko for their modes. It's lit. They've got valet mode, they got pet mode, they got freaking party mode, which are all part of living that Tesla lifestyle. I mean, come on. Why would you buy a gull-wing doored truck if you can't make its wings flap? But the mode that makes us car people short circuit the most is ludicrous mode. Luda! Basically, you take the already mind-blowing acceleration of an electric vehicle and remove all the limiters. But here's the thing. Ludicrous mode has 3 modes in and of itself. There's regular ludicrous mode, Ludicrous Plus, which takes some time to heat up the battery and adds launch control. And then there's Warp Mode. At first, Warp Mode just seems like a funny gimmick with no added performance. Your dash changes, your range plummets, and your center display just becomes a Windows 95 screensaver. But a warning message about gearbox wear and an increased battery heating time is proof that Warp Mode adds even more performance, and owners who visit the drag strip are reporting an extra 1/10 off their quarter-mile times. Ludicrous Mode is a $15,000 add-on to the already performance-enhanced Model X. And it'll get this 5,500-pound Disneyland monorail up to 60 miles per hour in just 2.7 seconds. That is really, really fast. There's only like 20 production cars in the world that accelerate harder than that, and none of them have third-row seating. The weirdest thing is that when you sail past that two-step in Supra off the line, you'll be doing it in silence, like the G in lasagna.
Audi RSQ8.
A while ago, Audi let us borrow the RS6 Avant. Now that daddy wagon was sick, for sure. But what if you want something taller? Something more powerful, with off-road capability? What if you're racing a Lamborghini Urus to the spaghetti factory and you want to look the driver in the eye? Unbroken eye contact while driving. Well, Paisan, you're in luck. The Audi RSQ8 basically has the same chassis, the same twin-turbo 4-liter V8, all in a package that is slightly more subtle, more refined than the wild Urus. This is a car for hot moms and architects. Does the Urus technically put out a couple more horsepower than the RSQ8? Sure. But 592 horsepower is still an insane number for an SUV, or any car for that matter. In fact, the RSQ8 is the fastest SUV to lap the Nürburgring. That's a Googleable record. And again, you could win one of these.
Porsche Macan.
In the before times, we had SUVs for comfort and SUVs for sportiness, and one of the best attempts to combine the two came from Porsche with the launch of the Cayenne. It's named after peppers because it's spicy. Without it, we wouldn't have the Tesla Model X. We wouldn't have the Urus or the Bentayga. And we certainly wouldn't have its son, the Macan. I like to think of the Cayenne and the Macan as two killer whales, and the Macan is the baby killer whale, and the mommy loves it. I love boats. The smaller Macan may only make 434 horsepower from its twin-turbo V6, but it's 500 pounds lighter than the Cayenne Turbo, and it's got a lower center of gravity as well. It may be slower to 60 than its big mom, but with a skilled driver, the Macan and the Cayenne can lay down very similar lap times at the track. And if you want an SUV that still feels like a Porsche, the Macan is your best bet with quicker steering response and stiffer suspension. In fact, the Macan Turbo is one of the best handling SUVs on the entire market. So I gotta give credit to the original OG, credit where credit's due. This list would be a lot different and maybe not even exist if Porsche had never made the Cayenne. But for drivability, the Macan beats out its older brother for the PP car spot on the list.
Mercedes-Benz AMG GLC 63S.
Speaking of cars that Mercedes calls a coupe, the GLC 63S is a four-door, 5-passenger SUV weighing in at nearly 4,600 pounds. You know, a coupe. I mean, if you think about it, it's basically a German Lotus Elise. What this guy does have, though, is a 4-liter bi-turbo V8 engine mated to a 9-speed automatic transmission that puts down 500 horsepower to all 4 wheels. 500 split between the wheels. Doesn't put 500 down into each individual wheel. That would be 2,000 horsepower. And that's enough to get all your leather upholstery, LED ambient lighting, and multi-zone climate control up to 60 miles per hour in 3.6 seconds. That's less time than it takes to say the name of this SUV. Mercedes-AMG GLC 63S. And one of the things that I can't get over is how much extra weight must exist in this car, and it will still out-accelerate a Mustang GT350. It's got 1,000 pounds more weight and less horsepower, but AMG gave this bad boy something we used to only see in Miami Beach:
a hot inside V.
Which means Mercedes sat the turbos inside the V of the 4-liter engine just like they do in F1 cars. This means less turbo lag, denser air, and a more compact design. I know when this V6 turbo era of F1 started, people weren't too hyped about the exhaust note, but imagine that sound coming out of an SUV. The turbo and exhaust layouts of this engine give it a similar growl to the one coming out of Lewis Hamilton's car.
Bowler EXRS.
Bowler is a company that makes off-road racing vehicles for endurance, rally, raid type events like Dakar. Their trucks, like the Wildcat and the Nemesis, are not road legal and therefore should not be considered for this list. But Bowler heard the howls of consumers that wanted a race truck for the road and came out with the totally road legal
EXRS.
It uses a Jaguar Land Rover sourced supercharged 5-liter V8 and it's got 700 foot-pounds of torque and it weighs less than 2 tons. With weight like that and 550 horsepower, it's got the same power to weight ratio as a Corvette Z51. On tarmac, it can't keep up with some of the other trucks on this list, going from 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds. But A, that's still really fast, and 2, the XRS can keep its speed up on dirt and gravel. This thing has nearly a whole foot of wheel travel. With big old Brembos, Bilstein shocks, racing seats, and a tubular roll cage, the EXR is basically a rally-ready racer with frickin' air conditioning, which is very cool. I love AC. I know it's not the most traditional example of an SUV, but if you want to go off-roading fast and in style, the EXR is the way to go if you have $250,000 to spend on a goofy thing.
Subaru Forester STI.
Now, a lot of this list has been pretty cost prohibitive, okay? The Bowler, like I said, $250,000 bones. So for something that is slightly more attainable and fast for the price, get yourself a Subaru Forester STI. It's a pretty simple formula, okay? Take all this stuff Subaru would add to a WRX to make it an STI, and you just add it to the Forester instead. I'm talking 2.5 liter turbocharged flat 4 all-wheel drive. You could do 0 to 60 in a very respectable 5.2 seconds and made 265 horsepower stock. Now, a real Forester STI is pretty rare because they were only sold in Japan and they're highly sought after. But any second-gen Forester can be turned into an STI clone for not a whole lot of effort. Also, if you want to start chasing down the numbers of some of the most expensive SUVs on this list, the Forester STI can take almost any of the mods of a Hawkeye WRX. 500 horsepower, not out of the question. Now, I know the Forester STI isn't the fastest SUV from the factory, but if you're on a budget, this is one of the best horsepower per dollar SUVs if you want to get your knucks a little greasy.
Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat.
Because the world wasn't satisfied with one Hellcat-powered SUV, Dodge put it in the Durango as well. Like the TRACKHAWK, the Durango will make over 700 horsepower, and it has that same supercharged Hellcat engine. It'll only be available for the 2021 model year and will supposedly cost about the same as a TRACKHAWK. It'll also have the same 0 to 60 time and the same all-wheel drive system. So, why is Dodge making it?
Well,
Fiat Chrysler, the owners of Dodge and Jeep, say that the Durango is for a different buyer than the TRACKHAWK. It's for the person who looked at the TRACKHAWK, the all-American brute with the 6.2 liter Hemi V8, the most powerful SUV ever made, and said, nah, that's too tame for me. I want something less tame, more wild. Honestly, that is exactly what the spokesperson said. The Durango is designed to be more in your face and have more of a muscle car feel than the TRACKHAWK. I thought the TRACKHAWK was pretty in your face to begin with, but Dodge is just, throwing a party at the end of the world. So good on them.
Toyota Land Speed Cruiser.
The last car on this list is definitely a record breaker. This Land Cruiser was a one-off project built by Toyota for SEMA in 2016. But unlike most SEMA cars, this thing actually ran, and it ran really well. It was built to break the land speed record for an SUV with former NASCAR driver Carl Edwards at the wheel. Toyota gave Edwards the best shot possible with a twin-turbo 5.7-liter V8 cranked up to 55 PSI and 2,000 horsepower. With some body mods and some lowered suspension for high-speed stability, this former off-roader hit 230 miles per hour. Now, is this SUV available for purchase at your local dealership? No, obviously not, no. But we couldn't have a list of fast SUVs without including literally the fastest SUV. Thanks for watching this episode of D-List and everything else on Donut. We have a new show almost every day. Hit that subscribe button.
Or I'll call your mom and tell her what you've been doing.
Check out this episode of Wheelhouse on why cars are getting bigger. Check out this video where we drove a bunch of Dodges. I don't know. I love you.